Hello everyone, my name is ClickFlow and welcome back to another episode of the Minecraft Thrive Guide. I hope you all are having a fantastic day. I'm having a pretty good one. And as you can see, this place is looking a bit more full. We have our storage system pretty much put together and we're pretty much moved in. So we've got all of our stuff pretty much organized how we need it to be. Most of my blackstone is being used for the castle wall construction. You can see we've got a bit more of that going on. We got a castle gate finally put together, and I'm working on putting the wall around the southeastern side as well. So yeah, this is looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy about that. And in this episode, I think I wanted to do something up here in this second floor. And I had mentioned before that I kind of wanted to try to do some sort of like farms up here, just like some of the ones that you can come up here, flip a lever, and then run down, and it'll just farm in the background while we're doing stuff, and then we can flip it off or whatever, and then head out. And I have been really loving these guys, these two, these warped stem and the crimson stem. You can see I don't have very many of the crimson stem. I just have two of them. I've really loved those colors. As you can see, we have them here, and we used it as bracing for the storage facility as well as for the gate, and I really love the color of it. And so I've been thinking I wanted to start farming some of those materials. Because they are a tree type, they are a stem, but they are technically part of the tree family. In order to grow trees, of course, we know that you first need to plant saplings. And the same is true for these guys. These guys have their own sapling type, and it's a fungus. It's a little fungus that you plant in the onto a warped or crimson nylium. These blocks right here, they're kind of like the nether grasses, and then it will grow, and then after being bone mealed, it will grow up into a full tree, which we can then harvest. On a different note, just as a side note, I was doing some farming of the some gold farming, and then taking that to the nether to go use the piglin farm. And today, when I logged onto my computer, when I logged into Minecraft, I got the recent 1.16.2 hotfix, 0.20 hotfix, and that buffed our system. It basically fixed one of the bugs that our system operated off of, which was that that when you dropped in one piece of gold to an area where there were multiple piglins, all the piglins would trade with that single piece of gold. That has now been fixed, and so now one piece of gold will only be traded with one piglin. So there's a lot of good things about that and some bad things. That does unfortunately mean that our piglin farm is not as efficient nor as powerful as it was, and it's not going to be very useful to farm blackstone. Back to the video. Alright, so we are here up in our second floor, and I'm going to pop down this shulker box, our redstone box. And I'm thinking we'll probably want to put this guy here up in the corner over here. I think that'll be a good spot to do it. I'm thinking we'll probably want something like a super smelter on one of this wall, on this wall here, and maybe we'll put something else over here. Maybe two things depending on how it fits. But this guy will pretty much take up this area. It won't take it up completely, but it'll take up enough space that I don't know if we'll be able to fit another farm in the back corner here. And that's okay. I want this place to feel kind of spacious. And I've been working on this design for a little while, and I think I've got something that's pretty good. So we're going to need some pistons for this. I'm just going to take all of those pistons there. We are going to need one block of redstone and a bunch of redstone dust. So I'll bring a couple more blocks so we can break those down. We'll need a couple redstone comparators, a few repeaters. We'll need some redstone torches, a couple hoppers as well. We'll need some glass. We'll not need a dropper, but we will need 6 dispensers. Actually, we'll only need 5 dispensers, so we can save one. We will need 1 lever to turn the system on and off, and I think that's pretty much it. One of the first things I want to do is to set up our initial clock. And so what we're going to do is we're going to put some blocks in this orientation right here, just like that. I'm then going to take and put a redstone torch right there. Then we're going to get a redstone repeater and place it right there and set that to 2 ticks, just like that. And then when we place redstone here on this block, it will start making a clock like that. That's going to be the main brain of our system here. And I'm going to just wire this out. I think about that far. I'm not exactly sure. But right here we can install a block and then our lever, and that will turn the system off. You can see that that powers this, and it continuously powers this block here, which will stop the clock from working. As soon as we flip that on, the clock will start going again. So that is the brain of our system right there, done and dusted. The second thing we are going to need, we're going to start out with, is our piston lines. So from here we're going to want to take some of redstone current and run it along a line of pistons, and this is going to come out, so this block is going to be empty. This is where we're going to put some dispensers, and then we're going to start here 1, 2, 3, 4. That's perfect, just like that. So let's put some redstone, wire this guy up, just like that. And we'll put some, oops, not like that. We'll want to put the pistons outside of the redstone coming towards us. And as you can see, if we turn around and get rid of these guys, that those redstone are now facing into the piston, which is exactly what we want. We then want to take our crimson nylium. This is going to be our pad that we want, and we're going to place those in 5 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for all of them. Just like that. Perfect. Now we're going to want to come out 1 block, and right where that is, I guess I shouldn't have put that, we want to place another row of pistons facing into the crimson nylium. Just like that. Perfect. And now we're going to want to route another signal from here to come behind these guys as well. Let me get some more redstone. I believe that is what we want, but we're going to break one of these pieces and put a repeater there. And that repeater is to make sure that it reaches all the way through. And you can see if we fire this, the pad gets moved back and forth and back and forth. And that is exactly what we want. This is the type of system. So basically, we are going to have a dispenser underneath here that will dispense up bone meal into this. The bone meal will then cause the warped in the crimson nylium, along with some other like grass type variants, the crimson roots, to be grown on here, and that is exactly what we need, similar to like grass. But then once it is grown, the pistons will then push it, and then that will cause them to break off of the blocks and then drop. We're then going to install a system of water dispensers, which will then flush the system into a hopper collection, and then we can collect all of our items that way. I hope that makes sense. I think we can just continue along with the tutorial and I can explain along the way, and then once it's finished, then we can look at it in detail, how it all comes together. So then the next thing we're going to want to do is actually we're going to want to place in our dispenser. And the dispenser I'm going to place right here facing up, and that's where we're going to load full of bone meal. Right now we can place the crimson nylium back on top because we can leave that there. And then I'm going to come around with some more redstone, and I'm going to place some redstone in this configuration coming out there, and just like that. So every time this fires, it will fire that dispenser, and you can kind of hear it clicking in here. We can listen. You can hear that clicking just like that. That's exactly what we want. Is every time this fires, it will fire that dispenser, and so it will grow the crimson nylium, and then the pistons will shift and it will break that. So that's perfect. That's basically that system all set up. Now we want to set up the flushing system. So I'm going to place 2 dispensers like this. Then we're going to place a solid block and 2 more dispensers like that. Unfortunately, with this design, you do need to place a block right here, which will cause 2 blocks of the nylium to revert to the netherrack. And that is a little unfortunate, but if we don't, then the water from both of these will combine to make an infinite water source, and this middle block will not be removed, and so the farm will not function. And that's just an unfortunate side effect of having this completely automated. Anyway, so we are then going to want to put some water inside of there. I don't have the water buckets on me, so I'm going to run over and grab them really quick. Okay, so now we can place 1 water bucket in each of these dispensers, just like that. And these guys are all ready to go, done and dusted. The next piece we are going to want to do is to surround this in glass, because we do not want the water to get into our redstone. It will ruin our redstone. So right now we are going to want to place the double chest facing just like that, so it's in the middle of our farm like that. And then we're going to get our hoppers and place 2 hoppers into there, and then have the other hoppers facing into it just like that. And it looks like we're going to need to make 1 more at least, but you get the idea, where they're all facing in there. And then we'll grab the glass and surround it just like this. So that way the water cannot escape, and it will be completely encased. And when the water does flush, it will flush all of the crimson and warped nylium, our warped fungus, into this hopper collection system, and they will all wind up in our chest. That's fantastic. Let me go make another hopper and I'll be right back. Awesome. So we are back again. We got that last hopper installed. So now if we come up onto this, we can see that that will work just as intended. Now if we fire this guy up right now, the clock will actually start to affect these 2 droppers, and they will start firing randomly, and it will be an absolute mess. So in order to stop that to happen and to keep these guys going on a timer, we're actually going to install a secondary clock. And to do that, we're going to revisit our old friend, the Etho hopper clock. We need 2 hoppers facing into each other, so we're going to place 1 there as a placeholder, place that one into it, and then we'll break that hopper out, and then we'll crouch and place it into there, just like that. Actually, we're going to want to move this over one, because first off, we want our two comparators to be reading into these blocks. One comparator right there, and one comparator right there, just like that. How embarrassing. Oops, we don't want that. Ha! There we go. Finally, sorry. So place the two hoppers into each other just like this, with the two comparators reading the contents of those hoppers into a block with a dot of redstone dust onto that. And then we're going to need two pistons facing into those two hoppers with a block of redstone in between them, just like this. So now we are going to want to put 10 items, and it doesn't matter necessarily what items we put in this. Let's see, we've got, I hate to put some blackstone in there, but maybe I can switch it out for some other things. But 10 items is what we want. We can put that in there, and you can see that hopper clock is now active, just like we want it to. So the way that we are going to route this onto it is we are going to put a block right here, which will then have a repeater, and then cover the top of this with redstone. So that will ensure that this is always being lit, except for when the contents are absolutely zero in the furthest hopper, and that only happens for one game tick. And that is perfect, because when these guys are powered, it means this clock can no longer mess with these two hoppers. So this system works 100% of the time, and as you can see, it does depower this little system. The next thing we are going to want to do is to take some of this redstone signal using our glass and route it up to this guy. And that is only so that when our system is powered, when it's turned off, this isn't being noisy all the time. I mean, you don't necessarily need that part, but it is kind of nice to be able to turn off this little system so that it's not always having piston noises. But as you can see, that is pretty much the entirety of the farm done and dusted, ready to go. As soon as we flip this lever, we can see it in action. That floods the system, and then as soon as it flips again, it'll drain, and then that dispenser is clicking underneath it, growing all of the warped and crimson fungus, and then that system will automatically flush it down into the hopper system. So it's completely AFK. You don't have to do anything. It is a little noisy, and then when you're done with it, you just flip that lever, and then the system is completely turned off, just like that. So a lot of other types of designs like this, the flooding system is manual, but this system is not manual. It is completely automatic, and you can just be AFK here, and it is quite a nice design, I think. It took me a little while to design it. The last thing I recommend, it's not 100% necessary, is to make this glass just a little bit taller, one block taller with the glass. And that is because sometimes when this is moving all crazy like, and the warped and crimson fungus are being popped off, sometimes they have a chance of going on top of these glass blocks, and then there is that little bit of loss that you get from there. There will be a small amount of loss that you can get when they drop on top of these droppers, on top of the dispensers, excuse me. But unfortunately, this redstone line does need to be there like this, because these dispensers need to be powered continuously except for that one game tick. So that's just a necessary evil that we're going to have to live with. The last thing I'm going to do, though, is I'm just going to place some blocks like this, just to make the system look a bit prettier. Just like that. And then I'm going to place some torches up here to ensure that nothing will ever spawn. No monsters will ever spawn here. So the last thing that we're going to need to do is to grab some bone meal, throw it into that dispenser down there, and test this guy out. And I think you guys are going to... it's going to make a little bit more sense once we have demonstrated it. But I hope the tutorial made sense. Again, if you guys didn't understand it, you can definitely let me know in the comments, and I will try and accommodate you guys as best as I can. Alright, so I have some bone meal with me, and this I think will be just fine. I don't have... oh, that's awkward. Haha. I don't have too much bone meal because I haven't been AFK very long at the general mob grinder up there for very long, but I will probably spend some more time in that farm soon in order to do that. Another thing that I do suggest is that underneath these pistons here, I would place some solid blocks like that, and that is mainly just to improve the collection drop rate. Anyway, so there it is. There's the system, and I just threw in some bone meal, and so I can get up on top of this thing. We can flip this lever and show you guys exactly how it's going. So right now it's in the flooding process. As soon as that comes over, it will tick, and then as you can see, we're starting to get some really good crimson and warped nylium, and then it flushes it into the system, just like we want it to be. Perfect. And then whenever we want to be done, we can just flick that lever, and the system is completely done. And as we check in our collection chest, you can see that we have what we need here. You might have noticed that the dispenser wasn't firing every single time, and that is just the nature of the dispenser. The dispenser will check the contents of it, and it will randomly pick one of the 9 slots in the dispenser to fire from that redstone pulse. So because we only had 2 of those slots filled with items, we only had a 2 out of 9% chance for the bone meal to be dispensed into this. So of course this farm will be more optimal if you have all of the slots completely filled. So the quick fix to that, we can just break a block there, reach into here, and collect these guys up, and then click and drag so that it's all the way filled up. Then when we close this up and try it again, you can see the difference here. You can see that it does fire every single time, and it fires pretty well. Alright, so I was a little concerned just for a second, because there were some times where the farm was working and the bone meal was not being dispensed onto this 100% of the time, and I was a little concerned about that. I was trying to figure out what I had done in my creative testing world that was different than the one that I just did now, and the only difference was this repeater right here. when we had this guy coming out from the clock, we just took a redstone signal and brought it all the way across. And that does work. The redstone signal does reach all the way, but you do want a repeater set to 1 tick right here. That guy is the magic key, because once that is installed there, then it will be set on a slight delay, which will then allow the system to work without any losses. So you can see if we fire that on, of course it's going to start with the water there. Man, it's kind of noisy. But as soon as this comes down, as soon as the water comes out, you can see every time it moves, it does grow those roots and those fungus. So that is perfect. That's exactly what we want. And this might not necessarily be the most efficient design in the whole world. There are, I'm sure, other designs that are more efficient than this. But I do try and work to design my own farms so that I'm not copying from other people. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little tutorial into how to do this. And I hope that you found this useful to put in your own worlds. I will definitely be needing this to farm these guys, these warped fungus and the crimson fungus, and turn those into their warped stem variants. Another thing, you can take these crimson roots and compost them into a composter, which will then turn them back into bone meal, so you can even get a return on your investment for this system. Anyway, that's enough rambling for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and this look into automatic fungus farming. I hope you found this tutorial useful, and if you did, why don't you smash that like button, leave a comment down below, and subscribe to my channel for some more content. My name has been ClickFlow, and I will see you guys next time. Bye for now.